everybody. Welcome to the Yarn and You Girl podcast. I'm Janine, also known as Yarn and You Girl, and this is my show where I talk to you guys about the knitting and crafting that I am throwing myself into. Mostly about knitting. In fact, that's pretty much exclusively what it's all about at this particular episode. But occasionally I throw in some crochet or sewing or cross stitch or whatever I'm involved in. I want to apologize ahead of time. I'm a bit nasally. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a little bit of a cold. I woke up, was fine yesterday, and started to have that sore throat, tingly in the back of the throat. And then this morning I woke up and I felt like I had an elephant sitting on my face. It was lots of pressure and everything, but I'm all medicated up. I can't spread any germs through the internet, so I felt like I could still share with you guys and hang out. So I hope you don't mind. And welcome to the show. If you're new, thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. We've had quite a few new subscribers, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. I just like to come on here every couple weeks and share the things that I am inspired by, and I hope that maybe by doing that, I can inspire you guys to do some fun things as well. So today is April 24th, and I am coming to you from my home in Vancouver, and my kids are at school, my husband is at work, and the dog's at the groomer, so no distractions today. It should be great. Except for the congestion in the nose and the fogginess in the brain, I should be A-okay. So as far as, I've got lots and lots to share with you as far as that goes. A little bit about just maintenance stuff. I threw it out there last time is to see if anybody wanted to do the Pinguono along. Didn't really get much. I had maybe one person say that they'd be interested in doing it, so I'm not sure I'm going to actually host an official knit along. But when I do start that, Rebecca, you know who you are. You're the one person who would definitely do it with me, I'm sure. So when I start it, I'll let you know, and we can maybe just knit along together. That would be fun. But I haven't started it yet, so I haven't done that. So that's as far as like maintenance stuff goes. No knit-alongs or anything at the moment. There is a Ravelry group, but it's very, very quiet. I don't really go over there and do much, except for when I host giveaways and things like that. So don't expect it to be teeming with excitement over there, but feel free to join that way if I do host a knit-along or do some prize giveaways that you guys can be informed of that as well. So anyway, let's see. Where am I? Yeah. Other exciting news. I published my Envious socks. I showed you guys these a while back. Let me see if I can find one. These are my Envious socks. They are live now on Ravelry. I posted them yesterday. They're going to be free until April 30th. So if you want a copy of this and you don't want to pay for it, it's free until April 30th. After that, it's going to be $2.50. It's a really great way to use up scraps of yarn. It's a fun sock, and so it's called Envious. It's live on Ravelry. If you follow me on Instagram, my Instagram handle is @yarnandyou. And if you follow me there, if you go into my bio, there is a link directly to the pattern, and you can download it for free on Ravelry right now. So that's just a little thank you to you guys because you're all so supportive of me, and I just wanted to share it with you. I know not everybody, has the fundage to purchase patterns, and I thought, well, yes, I did put some time into it, and I did do the, put my brain effort into it, but I thought it'd be fun to share it with you guys as a little thank you for your support of all of the podcast and all the stuff that I've been doing. So that's for you guys, at least until April 30th. And then after that, you're stuck. Sorry. It's going to be $2.50 after that. So be sure to get on over there. I was super excited because it's on the very first page of the What's Hot right now on Ravelry, and I've never had any one of my patterns on the first page. So, and it's probably because it's free. I'm not saying that this is like the greatest sock pattern ever. It's most likely because it's free and everybody is downloading it right now. But that all of you guys are looking at it, so thank you. I appreciated it. Brought it to the forefront of everybody's attention. So that's super exciting for me because like I said, I've never had any of my patterns be on the front page of that What's Hot Right Now. After I publish things, I usually go and I peek to kind of see, you know, how much interest there's. Oh, sorry, I just bonked the computer. You know, I peek to see how much interest there is and where it falls on that. And so usually it's, you know, way down on the low end because I'm not quite as big of a name designer as some of those that we all follow and love. But maybe someday, we'll see. I keep plugging them out there and I hope you guys are enjoying them. So that's all that I can hope for, is that somebody is appreciating the designs that I am putting out there. So anyway, I wore this sweater again because lately it has been one of my favorites. It is the Rodin cardigan. I don't remember if I don't think I said it the last time I wore it. I wore it like maybe 3 or 4 episodes ago. And I had quite a few people ask me what the name of the sweater was. So it's the Rodin cardigan. I did it in Imperial Columbia 2-ply in the pearl gray color. I think Michelle Wan is the designer. Don't hold me to that though. It was an Interweave magazine publication maybe a couple years ago. I don't even remember. Sorry, my notes. Blech. I don't even remember. So it, but I love it. And I actually just recently kind of fixed it because it had some holes under here where I had popped the stitches because in my mild ignorance of knitting at the time, I seamed it together with the Columbia 2-ply, and it's a rustic wool, but it's worsted spun, I think. Yeah, it's worsted spun, so it's very light and airy, and it tears really easily, kind of like Brooklyn Tweed. Very lofty and airy and soft. Sturdy once you put it together, but because of the seams and because of how big the arms are, I think I tried to put a jacket over it, and then same thing that sort of happened with my pullover that I just finished from Brooklyn Tweed. I popped stitches under here, so I seamed them up again and I fixed them, and then it was always a little bit too big. I wet blocked it to wash it because I'd gotten something on it, and then I threw it, I wrung it out with a towel and threw it in the dryer at 10-minute intervals. I wanted to shrink it up a little bit. I didn't want it to be crazy small, but it was already so oversized that I actually didn't enjoy wearing it. But now that I've shrunk it up a bit, I love it. It's so warm, it's cozy, it's the perfect like over layering piece. It kind of this season right now that we're having, where we have sometimes warm, sometimes cold, it gives me that extra little bit of layer that I need when I am cold in the house or running errands or something in the morning. So I really, really like it. And it sounded like from the comments I got that a lot of people thought it was pretty as well, and they were wanting to know the name of it. So it's the Rodin cardigan from Interweave Knits a couple years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but I love it. It's great. So that's what I'm wearing today. I'm drinking my Spark. It's not my favorite flavor, but this one is the limeade flavor. It's perfect today though, because it has that like really citrusy back, like in the back of your throat. And it feels like it's scouring the germs in the back of my throat. It feels like it's like burning away all the bad bugs. Kind of like old remedy that my mom used to always make me do when I was sick would be the gargle with the hot, warm salt water. It's kind of like that, where if you've ever done that, it's pretty nasty, but I feel like it really works on a sore throat. And it kind of, because it gives it such a hostile environment and really like aggravates the bugs, and then you don't notice your sore throat for whatever reason. So the limeade does that for me. it's helping quite a bit. And it gives me my caffeine burst that I definitely need. So that's that. And I have some finished objects to show you guys. I'm super excited because I actually have 3, and I never, ever have that many, I swear. Most of the time I have maybe 1 or 2 at the most, and a lot of times it's a 0. So today, to have 3, that's really, really cool. So the first one I'm going to show you is the Elwood cardigan, and I can't remember the name of the gal because I'm horrible, but I will put a little tag here to tell you who the pattern is by, and I'll have it in the notes below. I usually now post the show notes just in the description box below on YouTube, with links and stuff like that there. So it will be there. It will also be showing up here somewhere on the screen. But it's the Elwood cardigan, and I did it in Sweetgeorgia superwash worsted. The gray is Snowfall. I did this last time, I couldn't remember. And the green is fern. I said it was lettuce last time, but it was not lettuce, it's fern. So this is for my nephew Jameson. He is turning 3. I made the, gosh, it's got like thread all over it, I think because I set it on my sewing table or something and picked up all these little bits of thread. So he is turning 3 on May 9th, and I have made him hats and stuff before, but I really felt like making a little grandpa cardigan because that's totally what this is it's like an old man cardigan. So I did the buttons. I showed you those last time. They are these etched wooden buttons. The only issue I had, I love the buttons, don't get me wrong. I just didn't realize this would be, that's how they would be. The edges are a little rough where the etching was, obviously, because they're hand etched or machine etched, or I don't know. I got them from a gal on Etsy. And they are rough against the buttonhole, so they get kind of stuck on the buttonhole. But, oh well, they're really cute. I like them, and I think that his mom, Katie, will like them too. So that is going to Jameson. I hope she doesn't watch this, but we're really excited to actually like wrap it up because my husband and I bought this thing a while back, and I'm going to go get it because it is hilarious. And I don't know if you've seen them before. They were on Amazon. So let me go get it because I just have to share it with you guys. Okay, hang on. Okay, so it's this prank gift box, and it's the one we got was the My First Fire, and it literally says like, spark excitement, licking batteries and putting weird stuff in the microwave can't hold a candle to the daring delights of My First Fire. No more tiresome questions like, Mom, will it burn? Boredom, get ready to meet your match because where there's smoke, there's fun. And it talks about like the contents of the box are like 1, fire ring panels, 2, logs, Endura logs, 3, cherry scented fuel, 4, 12-inch fire poker, and 5, a 24-page manual. And it talks about like, it just says like some hilarious, easy setup, like explore the wonders of fire lighting. And it's for, a kid, and it's for, packing your stuff in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to pack the sweater in this prank gift box and then wrap it up and give it to her. I don't think she watches the show, so hopefully I'm not totally giving away the prank. But if you guys, they have multiple different kinds of these. They have like different things like crib dribbler and toddler tamers, and they're like shackles for your toddler. And then the crib dribbler is like a hamster watering device that you put on the edge of your crib. So not actually real things, but super funny. We saw those on Amazon one night when we were out to dinner. We were kind of like, my brother-in-law had mentioned them, and we don't have a lot of like young kids in our family except for my sister-in-law, Katie, who she's my age, maybe like 9 months younger than me. And she's just recently started having kids. So her kids are like 3 and then 6 months, or will be 3 and then will be 6 months here. So she's a little late to the, having kids, but it's, I don't have anybody else who has like little kids that I can give that kind of stuff to. So if you want a funny like prank box, you should check those out. They're pretty cool. So that is the first finished object, the Elwood cardigan. It is a pay-for pattern on Ravelry. And yeah, it was nice. It was a nice, well-written pattern. Comes in multiple different sizes. I did the 4T. And I used one full skein of the green of the Sweetgeorgia and 2, like 1.5 of the gray. So it doesn't use like a ton of yarn for this size anyway. And it went pretty fast. So that's the Elwood cardigan. And then my next finished object is my Pairfect socks. My Regia Pairfect in this 70s stripe colorway. This, I don't know what the name of the colorway is. I am horrible. You guys know this. I don't keep my ball bands half the time. I'm very disorganized, but whatever. I'm sure if you looked up Regia Pairfect, you would find the ones that were these because, they only have so many. But this is their latest line of the Pairfect. It was the striped tops and just solid bottoms, and I kind of liked that. So I did these on a US 1, 64 stitches. Sorry, yawning. And I don't know, if you've never used the Pairfect, you have like a yellow starter string that tells you where to begin, basically. And I recommend like measuring your cast on, like if you're doing a long tail cast on, measuring the length of your cast on tail. And then that way when you do the second one, you measure the same length, and that's where you put your slip knot before you do it. So that way your cuffs and stuff all turn out perfect. But once you cast on, you just do your cuff for the first color, and then you switch to your stockinette for the legs. And then when you get to the last stripe here, it tells you that's when you do your heel. I did a fish lips kiss heel here, and then you just do your toe or your foot all the way down to the toe, however long you need. And then they turned out perfect. So I like them a lot. They're a 75% wool, 25% nylon or polyamide or something like that. And they're great. They're going to be real sturdy. And I always, you always need some new socks in your sock drawer. I usually have a pile of hand washing to do these days with all of my socks. So it's nice to just do them in small stages and then still have lots of socks to go through. So I always got to keep replenishing my sock supply. And then the last thing, hang on, let me get a drink because I feel like I'm talking too much again. The last thing that I finished was my Vertices Unite by Stephen West. This is giant like asymmetrical shawl that you start, and do small sections and then add on to the sections. So it's really, really big. I blocked it. I made the large size. And I ended up going with the bright yellow contrast around the ridge there. So you do an I-cord bind off, and so I went with the bright yellow. I just thought it added a little bit. But it's so big and cozy, And yeah, it was a super fun knit. It's really easy. It's just garter stitch. The only, confusing parts or complicated parts are where you're picking up from the corner, and working in these sections. For the most part, though, it's pretty basic, and I think it's a good kind of beginner into stripes, beginner into some fun shaped shawls. Real easy and fun to do. So he does a great job with his pattern writing, as well as video tutorials on how to do things. So he usually has something, and he always has lots of photos in his patterns for certain techniques and stuff that he likes to use. So that is Vertices Unite. All the yarns in here are, the yellow is my Yarn and You. It's Lemonade or Daisy. I can't remember. Yeah. See, I'm horrible, guys. I don't even remember my own stuff. I think it's Daisy. And then this is Mad Science Yarn and Electromagnetic. The pink is Junk Yarn in Jubilee. The creamy white that goes in the striping is Hula Hut yarn in the Appleblossom. This blue is Hula Hut yarn in the Seafoam color. And the purple down here is Snozberry by Dogstar Knits. So it's kind of a amalgamation of lots of different skeins, single skeins that I had in my stash. So that was fun. It was good to finish that. That's all I have for finished objects, but seriously, that's a lot for me. And I've been working a lot on some design stuff, which I can't really show you guys, but I'm excited about it. And let me tell you just a little bit, like, I submitted a design to the fiber company. So we'll see if, they like it or not. If they do like it, they end up providing like yarn support, it sounded like. So I'm excited about that. Even if they don't like it, you guys, I will eventually show it to you guys then and publish, the pattern. And then I have got 2 designs that I'm working on to submit to Brooklyn Tweed. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've done all the swatches and everything, and I'm writing up the submissions and should be getting them into them. And that would be so cool if I got either one of those companies to be like, hey, yeah, we like that. That'd be very, very cool. So that's coming down the pipeline. But again, if they don't end up liking the design for whatever reason, for their, like, maybe it's not their aesthetic, or maybe it's they just, whatever, it wasn't their thing, I will still end up self-publishing down the road, because I'm definitely going to do these designs now that I've kind of like thought them through and done the swatches and stuff for them. So those will be I'll let you guys know how that's going, and whether or not I can share things, and when I can share things, if I can. So then I have some works in progress. Oh, my nose. Couple things. First, since I finished my Pairfect sock, I thought I would start the set for my husband. So I've never made him a pair of socks. I made him a hat and a sweater, but never made him socks. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I'm kind of been, for the most part, selfish knitter. But I don't know. I'm feeling like more inspired to share with others. And I think that's probably because my knitting closet of my own stuff is starting to overflow. So I need to start making stuff and gifting stuff. So I had a second ball of the Regia Pairfect. And again, I lost the ball band. But this is the stripe section of it. And I did his on US 1, 72 stitches. And I'm just getting to the heel. And I'm doing a heel flap and gusset for him because I think that will fit his foot. I measured. And his calf is like, or his ankle area is like 9 inches around. and his foot is like 10 inches around, and then his, heel base to the top of his foot from the widest part of his foot is like 13 inches. So I thought that I would try to do a heel flap and gusset for him and see if that fits. And then we'll kind of have to play with that. I'm looking forward to, I have a friend, you guys, and you should check it out because I'm looking forward to this a lot. So Fiber Frosting is her Instagram handle, and her name's Naomi, and she's put together this super cool, I haven't had a chance to check it out, but it sounds awesome. It's called Fitnilla. And it is almost like an interactive sock pattern. So you put in your gauge and the measurements for the foot, and it generates a pattern for you. And you can do it with any size yarn, any size foot, and it generates a pattern. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think she's releasing it on May 1st, so you should definitely go over and check her out. Maybe follow her on Instagram, and that way you can kind of keep track of when it's released. Maybe she'll offer a promotion. I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to that because I think that would be cool for making, like, I know what my gauge is for fingering weight socks, but sometimes I don't know if it's going to fit the person that I'm making. So if I had their measurements, then I could put that in and I get a perfectly fit sock. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to definitely be purchasing it. So you should check her out. Her name is Naomi, and she's Fiber Frosting on Instagram. And that, I think, is coming out May 1st. If I remember, I saw a post from her this morning. So be sure to check that out. But anyway, these are Regia Pairfect, again, in a different colorway. I have no idea, but I know that's not helpful at all to you guys, but hopefully, you'll be able, if you like it, you'll be able to track it down on the internet, because usually you can find stuff there, whatever you want, right? Good intensive. Seriously, I just spit. So glad that I'm not actually talking to somebody here, because I would have just spit all over them. Sucks to be sick, guys. Okay, so I started working on writing up my sweater pattern. So this is the sweater. Let me show it to you guys. That I finished in Brooklyn Tweed in the Loft. And I'm making a second one as I write up the pattern. Now, oh, that just really blew out the color. I had a freaking meltdown the other day because of this sweater. My loving son has been doing chores around the house because he wants to show that, he can be part of the, family, and he's hoping all the chores he does are in hopes to get extra video game time. And we don't always give him extra video game time, but we told him that if he can be consistent with his grades and consistent with helping around the house and, doing chores and things like that, then we will be more likely to give him extra video game time. Right now, they only get an hour on Saturdays and Sundays, and that's it. And he is like a video game junkie, like most boys. So he did the laundry, and somehow my sweater got in there. And I was sitting on the couch, and he's downstairs, and he's folding laundry. And he pulls out the sweater, and I hear, that static crackle, crackle, crackle when stuff is like sticking to other stuff. And I look over, and he has my sweater, and he's run it through the wash as well as the dryer. And I kind of like freaked out a little bit. I didn't want, I knew it wasn't his fault because obviously, he didn't know that you couldn't wash it, and it had shrunk significantly. It still fit me, this way, but it was a belly shirt, and the turtleneck had really, shrunk up, and the arms had really shrunk up, so I I went upstairs because I didn't want him to feel bad. I was already upset, completely upset. So I went upstairs to my room and I took the sweater and I put it on and it didn't fit. And it was that belly shirt and I just burst into tears. And I was upstairs and I was just crying. And the poor kid, he came up. He felt so, so bad. And I know, I told him, I was like, I know you didn't do it on purpose. Like, I know it's, you were trying to help, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm really sad right now about my sweater. I mean, it was months and months of work, and, it might be ruined. I'm like, but I'm going to try to fix it. So I gave it a bath in the bath and I pulled it out. And luckily we have one of those like dryers that's like an eco dryer. So you can set it to a setting where it's more environmentally friendly. It doesn't get super hot. The clothes don't always get completely dry because it's like a sensor. So they get dry, but sometimes they come out a little bit damp depending on if you put towels or something in there. So it didn't shrink up too bad. And I, giving it a bath and giving it a nice big pull and stretch, like it fits still. So I was really, really happy about that because it just made my whole like stab in the heart and just like dig the knife in and all that time, and oh my gosh, and it was just like, oh, I just wanted to cry. I cried a lot that night and I was kind of pissed that whole night, but I got over it. And once once it was recognizable that it was fixable, I let him know, and he was really glad that it was fixable, and he was really sweet and just so apologetic, and he was just trying to help, and I think it was, my husband's like, I think it was my fault. I think I threw it in the laundry. Like I grabbed stuff and threw it in the laundry and thought it was, didn't even think to look. So anyway, I started a new one because I'm working on the pattern write-up, but it's going slow. Partly because, I have other stuff going on. But I did start it. The color I'm using is Brooklyn Tweed Barn Owl. I don't know, did I show you guys? Oh, I showed you guys these last time. Yeah. So, Loft in the Barn Owl colorway. And I just basically have the back going and the shoulders and a little bit of the front right now. So I haven't done a ton, but I'm trying to work on it as I write it out so that I can, and then I, managing it with the writing out the other numbers and figuring out, grading it for other sizes and stuff. So it's going to be slow, and it might be slower than some of the other stuff that I'm putting out because those other things have deadlines. Like if I do end up getting accepted for one of the submissions, then I'm going to be spending time working on that design more so than this design, but it'll be coming. I love it. I definitely want another one. It is by far one of my favorite sweaters right now. So I will be making the second one and taking care of it. So this is in my, where is the tag? Oh, Laughing Stitches bag. It got, the last time I showed this to you guys, I was like, it's really light and I hope I don't drop it in the mud and get it all dirty. And then I swear to you, the next day I dropped it like against the tire of the car or something. And it just got this horrible black gunk. And so I had to wash it, and it's a little wrinkly still from the wash, but it's Laughing Stitches and I really like this bag. It was just, very sad because I jinxed myself completely and said I was going to drop it, and I did. So anyway, so that's my second work in progress. What else have I got? I started a new sweater. I needed something that, excuse me. was not a design project, something that I could work on. And I hand dyed this yarn the other day, and I just fell in love with it, and I decided I have to have it. I'm going to pause for a second, though, because I need to go get a tissue. Sorry, I'm sick, guys. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Anyway, so I needed some kind of pattern that I could do that I wasn't going to be having to think about my own design and all the numbers and stuff. I just needed something to do. And then I dyed up some yarn the other day on my DK weight base, which is Pop DK. It's a 100% superwash merino. They are 100 grams, no, 115 grams and 250 yards. And I think I'm going to name it like Burnt Embers or something like that, this colorway, but I freaking love it. I'm going to have a couple in the shop on fingering and DK because I did a few, but you can't really tell, but it's like brown and pink and black and orange, and it has like this, gorgeous, gorgeous, like so pretty. I can't even, and the camera here is not even doing it justice at all. But I have 4 skeins of it for my sweater, and I've got 2 right now caked up. This one turned out a little bit lighter, so I'm making sure to alternate skeins because I don't want to end up with like a big light section. I did 6 skeins at the same time. Well, you know, working on the colorway, and this one turned out lighter, but a couple of them turned out a bit darker, so I just tried to find the ones that were the closest of the 4 for my sweater, and I figured I was going to alternate skeins anyway because I wanted the sweater to come out. So I'm doing the Arbusto sweater. It's in the Lane magazine, volume 6, I believe. Let me see if I showed this to you guys a while back, but because I looked for this magazine because I really wanted it. Let's see. Of course, now when I want to show it to you, I can't find it. So it's Arbusto. It's a bobble sweater, basically, a reverse stockinette, and the designer is Rosa Pomar, and it just looked so fun. And you know, if you know me, you know that I love anything with freaking bobbles. I don't know why, but bobbles just make me happy. So I wanted this sweater with bobbles on it. So you knit it inside out, but what I've got, obviously the right side is the reverse stockinette side. So I just have the front here. I'm doing the medium. This is the front. Sorry, let me see if I can get this organized. I just basically started, and I almost finished the short row, or excuse me, I did finish the short rows. So now I'm working on just increasing the yoke. And then I have 1 row of bobbles going. But I mean, look at those colors. The orange and the brown and the black. And oh my gosh, it's so fantastic. I had to have a sweater in this. I just had to. So I will be putting some in the shop. If you are interested in sweater quantities of any of my colors that are in the shop, most of that stuff I can recreate. It's not, it would say one of a kind if it was one of a kind of my particular yarn. So if you want a sweater quantity, message me and I'd be happy to do that for you. Yeah. So, or a custom order or whatever, let me know. I'm on Instagram again. It's at yarnandewegirl. But I was just playing around with new color palette, and this one just happened to come out, and it's just gorgeous, and I'm gonna be definitely doing more. So I'll have a couple skeins that are already dyed up on my fingering weight, which is my alternative sock, and then I'll have a couple skeins on DK up in the shop. And then if you like it and you want some, let me know and I can do some more orders for it. But I'm alternating skeins, and I found this really, really cool tutorial. I was looking for the one for the jogless join that everybody was talking about a while back. I don't even know. I could not find that one. But I'm basically changing yarn every single row, changing to the skein every row. But there's no carry. Like, you don't see the carry at all. So it's happening right here. This is where the start of the beginning of the round is, and that's where I'm carrying the yarn. So you don't see it on the wrong side, and you don't see it on the right side. And it is freaking fantastic. You just knit to the yarn, then you drop the yarn that you're working on, but you drop it on the right side. So you bring it forward and you put it on the right side. Then you grab your yarn from the previous ball before, and you bring it to the back side if you're knitting, or purling, it's in the front. But it usually stays in the front until you get there. And then you get to that yarn and you just pick it up and you just start knitting with it. You come around to the other one and you drop it into the front and then pick up the other one. And there's literally like nothing, which is so amazing, because I have had trouble with doing the alternating, because I end up with like that yarn that kind of carries up the side, and then it's usually too tight, and it bothers the bejesus out of me. So this was so cool to be able to do this and not have it leave a line or even like cinch it up or anything. So I will see if I can find the YouTube link, and I'll link it in the podcast notes, because I thought it was amazing for joining, doing 2 different skeins of hand-dyed yarn. It was a very cool technique, and it was just so simple, and I didn't have to think about anything, and there's no slipping stitches or anything like that. It was very, very cool. So, and it worked actually pretty well for the short rows too, because where I dropped the yarn was in the middle of the short row, right? So I would actually work one side of the short row with the yarn, come all the way back past the yarn, on the other side, turn around, and then when I finally so I do one complete short row with one skein, and then I would drop it in the front. So it was almost like 2 rows, but you still can't see it, and it still was in a spot on the yarn, or on the pattern, that was not noticeable at all. So I just thought that was really, really cool. So I'll have to link it for you guys, because it was awesome. So this is Arbusto by Rosa Pomar. It was in the Lane magazine, issue 6. I'm not sure if you can buy it individually on Ravelry or not. I don't think so. But that is what I've been working on today while I've been sick and, doing nothing else. So anyway, as far as acquisitions and stuff go, I don't really have any. I didn't buy any yarn except for, I bought my own yarn. That's the only acquisition I've got right now. But, yeah, I'm just hanging out and doing my thing. I am going to do a separate short podcast. I'm part of this 10 favorite things that a bunch of other podcasters are doing, and we're just gonna be, it's like gonna be a short episode on my 10 favorite things, and some of them will be knitting related, and some of them will be not knitting related, like my favorite book, my favorite whatever, tea, I don't know. But I'm coming up with my list, so be on the lookout for that. And when I do that, I will post a link in the bottom of the description page of that particular video that shows all the other podcasters who are doing that as well, if you want to check their stuff out also. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have today. I think I'm going to get some rest. So I hope you're all healthy and well wherever you are, and happy knitting.